So when clients ask us for advice, or they ask me for advice, I often feel like I have to be kind of a dick in how I respond in a way that's actually helpful. And the way that is, a lot of the time, not all the time, but a lot of the time, is to not just give them my advice. Why is that? Because you see, when a person's asking me any question, and it's most typically when they're asking for advice, what matters to me is that they're actually asking, like the reason why they're asking for that advice is what matters to me more. And why is that? Because when we've got a client, they've hired us to help them grow and develop themselves in their freedom, their love, and their power, to grow as a creator. And that's actually more important to me than the outcome they're seeking when they're asking for advice. It's typically like some circumstantial thing. How do I do this differently? Some advice about something out there or even inside. But what's the advice that you have for me? When it's at that level, most of the time they're asking that for a reason, which if I gave them the advice, even if that advice is good advice and useful advice, would kind of entrench the truth of the reason they're asking it. And what I mean by that, let me give you an example. Somebody's saying, oh, how do I handle this business context? How do I handle this person when they say this? And the reason I'm asking, which is an unconscious reason, the reason I'm asking is because the thing that I think to do, I'm afraid that that's not enough, or because I don't know and I can't figure it out myself. And so it's not that there's not an element of truth to that, and it's not that there's not and it's not that an answer to that question wouldn't be useful in helping them to achieve the outcome. It probably would. Usually, pretty much always it would. But here's the problem. If I give them that answer, allowing them to ask that question from that place of belief, of doubt, I've just entrenched that belief that they don't know, or I've entrenched that belief that what they have as a route, as an angle, is not powerful enough and not good enough. And it doesn't mean that my answer might not be more effective or more powerful. It doesn't mean that. Maybe it will be. Oftentimes it could be. But it's actually way more important that they are asking for advice from an empowered position, from a place of knowing that they already have value, than it is that I give them something that could get them the outcome. And so I'm often like, I get why you're asking. I try to like break it to them easy. Sorry to be a dick, but I'm not going to give you the answer because it feels to me right now, intuitively, that you're asking that question primarily because you don't trust yourself. So let's talk about that first. Because I want you trusting yourself and knowing that even if this dude fucking drops dead and I never get any advice back from him, I'm going to act on what I think, and that's going to be fucking powerful. I'm going to do what's clear for me to do, and that's going to be powerful. And here's why this matters more than the advice. Is because your state of being in the action that you take is primary. That's the primary factor in the results that you generate, right? You can take a lukewarm, shitty action and have it come from an empowered state of being, from certainty, from love, from commitment. And that lukewarm action, that action that maybe not as effective if other people did it, will suddenly be super powerful. It's like take a phrase, like any phrase, and you have somebody speak it with a low and disempowered state of being, or somebody speaking it with an empowered state of being. It's the being that makes all the difference. You know that, you get that. So that's why. And so here's the other thing too. It's also going to elevate the way at which they seek advice going forward. I'm not saying stop seeking advice. I'm saying learn to ask for advice from a place of empowerment. Like when I hired my mentor, Steve, huge financial investment, huge investment of time. I spoke to him. At that time, I thought it was for him. In hindsight, I know it's for me. I knew it was for me. And looking back at it, I said, look, I'm not here for a Steve Hardison trophy for my coaching altar, which was funny because I actually had his picture on my altar, but that's a different story. And basically what I was saying to him, which was really for me, was, look, I don't need you. That was not for him, it was for me. I was telling myself I don't need him. Why was I doing that? Because I needed to know that everything that I was learning in that space, in that relationship, in that office, was secondary to my own power, was secondary to the foundation of trust that I had in myself, right? And so I'm speaking that outwardly, at the time somewhat subconsciously, as an expression of my own commitment to my own strength, a projection onto him, but it's the same idea. The more conscious it is, the more empowering it's going to be. So it's not that asking for advice is problematic or disempowering directly, as I might call the title of this video. Maybe I'll say advice seeking is disempowering to kind of hook you in, because there's a truth to it, but it's not the whole truth. The whole truth is advice seeking from the idea that I can't do this, that I don't know, that my idea isn't strong enough or powerful enough. That's disempowering. Seeking advice from a place of like, dude, whether you give me advice or not, I got this. I will accomplish this outcome. I will achieve my goal. I will be effective. And since I know that I'm going to be no matter what have you got for me? How can you help? What are the ideas and what you contribute to the action I'm going to take anyway? That's the way that you want to be asking for advice. So I hope you get the nuance. I hope you can hear me because I'm running and bouncing all over the place. I love you. I'll talk to you soon.